Hello, everyone, and welcome to this very exciting session on driving leadership in sustainability and immersive technologies. My name is Melis. I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager for Digital Twins and Government Solutions at Unity. Today, we will be discussing how disruptive technologies are pioneering change in sustainable practices and making a positive impact on protecting our planet. Joining me for our discussion are Jasper Smith, founder and chairman of Arxen, an innovation, technology, and adventure company designing capable marine exploration vessels with a focus on safety and preserving our oceans. And Marchesi, Chief Technology Officer at The Fabricant, a digital fashion house that's reducing the environmental impact of the fashion industry by creating hyper-real clothing entirely digitally. These two inspiring leaders are reinventing traditional business practices to have a positive impact on the environment. Glad to have you both here with me today. Let's get rolling. So let's start with this one. When we think of sustainability, luxury goods are definitely not what first comes to mind. There's a perception that luxury brands and the companies within that realm don't necessarily care about social responsibility. Is that the case? Let's start with you, Jasper.
Great question, Melis. I think in our case, we work in the marine industry, and the marine industry has a shocking reputation for building huge super yachts and that are used by a few people, very seldom, and so they languish in harbours for weeks, if not months on end. And so it's got this terrible reputation. But if you think of luxury in a slightly different way, luxury means time, and it means caring about things. It means, the idea of things that you treasure. And so I think the heart of Arxen is really about, the ocean is the world's ultimate luxury. It is the thing that gives us the ability to breathe. It's the thing that feeds over 1 billion of us. It's the thing that mitigates climate change. And so there's probably no more important ecosystem in the world than the ocean. And Arxen really set out to try and change the parameters of the marine industry and how it operates by having a slightly different approach to how vessels are built and used. And, I guess from a materials point of view, everything that we've done is with a circular economy in mind. So our vessels are designed and built using recycled or recyclable materials from scratch. They're designed in a way that they can be used for research and science purposes. So the idea behind that is to get utilization of those vessels up from something like 10% to closer to 90% by using the downtime for science programs and projects. And then the third component of what we do is really about empowering marine scientists and charities and conservation efforts around the world. And so we're partnered through our charity 10% for the Ocean with 43 global ocean research charities, and we provide effectively a mechanism that enables some of those things to come together. So in my mind, the marine industry has an extraordinary opportunity to offer something, this precious gift back to the ocean and help humanity understand more about how that ecosystem functions. And everything we do at Arxen is really about trying to put those three things that I've mentioned at the core of every decision that we make.
Marco, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion against luxury in general in fashion, at least in my case, because it's actually the problem of fashion is the most in the fast fashion, the cheap one. They generate more waste. So if you consider let's say, the worldwide fabric waste is around 100 million tons every year, at least last year. I don't have the exact data that we can split between luxury and fast fashion, but definitely it's kind of renowned that is the cheap one that it generate more damage to the environment. Of course, for us, the goal is to create a sustainable or digital fashion. They replace every fashion. It's not like just the luxury or the fast fashion. We are basically against every physical fashion. And it's kind of, and I think in that case, yes, in terms of, let's say, ethics and social responsibility. There are many luxury brands that actually are responsible. They are trying to be at least carbon neutral and try to reduce the impact. And also it happens as well with fast fashion, but there is definitely where we saw the most more urgency to kind of change the rules, let's say.
So we talk about the philanthropic angle and an excellent initiative. Are there other ways you think your company can impact sustainability? Any new trends that you're excited about?
I mean, yeah, for us is huge. NFTs for sure, and the blockchain side, and this one because is not just a trend, is a revolution. Because the idea is to not just to revolutionize how people can experience fashion, but it's also about how can people can create fashion, how people can be part of the fashion industry in a different way. So our goal is to be more sustainable in the sense that we have, of course, we reduce the presence of fashion or clothes in the, let's say, in the real world by using digital items that people can wear, for example, in augmented reality or in virtual reality, in, let's say in the metaverse. So people love to talk a lot about that. But also, we think that it's gonna be super important and present in our lives, like how people will generate fashion, will create fashion by themselves, like, and also they will be able to commercialize what they do. And it's gonna be a massive shift in the fashion industry because fashion industry is a hyper centralized industry. So there are big brands that they control the market. There are small brands that they have less control, but there is a lot of decision making that is taken by a few people, a category of privileged people that they control basically the market, also in terms of trends and taste. And this one is going to change a lot. NFTs, you know, that not fungible tokens is the way that on blockchain we are able to track the provenance, track scarcity, and track content creation in a way that every person that is involved, it can be kind of part of this game and be able to make profit, be on the market, but also take advantage of the digital fashion industry. So yeah, it's definitely where we are more excited a lot, and we are definitely, for example, today we are having a drop with a NFT game called Star Atlas, and we are basically selling jackets and other clothes. And it's interesting because it's an entire new world made of actually of vessels by in the space. It's quite funny that we are in the vessel space, but we are completely in another area, in the metaverse. And we are basically dressing the kind of characters there in a way that people can have fun and enjoy digital fashion in a completely new world. We love that one because we strongly believe about digital fashion for a reason, because we spend a lot of time every day on screens. So it's definitely, we see the potential of the fact that at the end, if we spend, I don't know, people that are spending 10 hours, even 12 hours on a screen, in front of a screen every day. And not just Zoom calls, we're talking about any other platform, games, AR, VR. There are a lot of different platforms. Of course, all these moments, they need new identities. So for us, fashion is not just that one, but it's also about it's not just about dressing people, but about creating the new identities in a digital world. And this is where we see NFTs and blockchain as a strong potential for us to kind of going ahead in the sustainability process, because of course it's gonna reduce the impact basically of waste in the environment. Of course, a big topic is sustainability and blockchain. And there are a lot of criticism about that, and we are conscious of the fact that blockchain as a technology is not yet the best technology in terms of environmental impact. This is why we're using a sustainable blockchain called Flow, and they reduce the energy impact. And there are a lot of work from other blockchains as well in terms of reducing the impact in the environment. And this is something that we love to evangelize. We love to be part of even the criticism. We don't want to defend at all costs something where we see there are actually issues that we need to solve altogether.
Thank you for that, Marco. That was very insightful. How about you, Jasper? What's your take on that?
I think that was really interesting. I mean, I haven't yet got to a point where we're doing NFT yachts and NFT adventures and experiences, but I'm sure that will come over time. But I hope it's not in the immediate term for us at least. So I think that the trends that you're seeing in sort of manufacturing world are towards more sustainable materials and practices, and less wastage. So ensuring that everything is designed with this circular economy in mind that I was talking about earlier. And we're seeing trends towards things like autonomy in the marine environment, very following things like what happened in the auto industry. I think probably one of the biggest trends is this move towards experiences rather than ownership. And I guess people my age and older were all about owning the asset and sort of going off and using it. And we're seeing that change fundamentally, where the younger generation are really just interested in the experience that you can have with this extraordinary machine. And you can go off to Antarctica or the Arctic or do the Northwest Passage or something magical like that, and really immerse yourself in complete wilderness. And so there's and partly driven by COVID and things like that, there's a sort of real zeitgeist moment for adventure experiences. And, we all have in our sort of inner human, this sort of desire for, being off grid, being in the wilderness, feeling the sort of weather and the wind run through our hair. So it's I think there's a big emerging trend there. And actually the marine industry has had, oddly enough, through COVID, it's had its best ever 2 years, largely because people have been stay at home and they're sort of, what can I do when all this ends? And having a boat, going off and doing stuff has become, a really big driver for people, I think. But yeah, I think if you look at the sort of materials science side of things, what's happening there. So if you go back sort of 10 years, it was actually very hard to find pure recycled materials, whether you were designing clothes or whether you were building boats or other big machines. That's changed fundamentally now. And so, vessels like the Arxen ones are built using primarily recycled aluminium. Now, that's, an extraordinary achievement for the aluminium industry to have got to that point. But if you look at the interior finishes, you look at the way the decks are laid, you look at the way the interior electronics are built and the HVAC systems and things, it's all built with this circular economy and recycling in mind, using materials that probably weren't available 5 or 10 years ago. So yeah, I think there's a lot going on, and I think as an industry, the marine sector will grow from strength to strength, buoyed up by the investment that's been made in the auto sector. And as I said a moment ago, I hope we don't get to a completely virtualized sailing experience, because the wonder of being on the ocean is the wonder of the ocean, and it's very hard to replicate that. I spent a lot of my early career making games, and it's an extraordinary thing to do when you can create a world. But the real world's pretty special too.
Thank you, Jasper, for that. It's amazing that for both companies, sustainability is truly a part of the process from the beginning. You have obviously embraced technology wholeheartedly at your company to enhance the experience and maybe even the design. Jasper, can you tell us more about how Arxen integrate real-time 3D into the process and how this is advancing your sustainability goals?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. When we started Arxen, the idea of using 3D was an anathema to many people in the company. I mean, it was sort of like, well, that's not how we do stuff, and we use sort of pens and papers and things like that. And it was, I remember talking to one of the external contractors we use, and it was, not something they were particularly au fait with from a sort of a VR or pure design point of view. But I think it's extraordinary what one can achieve, and we've used it to great effect. And I'm as a gamer and as an ex-game developer, I'm sort of really passionate about bringing a lot of the tools and technologies that we've used in other businesses and other industries into the marine sector. And I think it brings to life so many components. On a product development cycle, it's wonderful being able to sort of visualize and texturize and explore a creative vision that somebody's got around a product easily, remotely, and in groups, without the huge infrastructure cost that you would normally have of trying to build that product physically. And so it's, I wouldn't say it's cut in half, but it's certainly reduced very significantly the cost of prototyping for a business like us. And the second side is it enables you to bring an idea to life very, very quickly in a very rich, textured way. Whereas years ago you would be using Photoshop and you'd sort of do a sketch of a drawing, then try and plug it onto a photo and stuff like that. To actually create worlds and be able to show your products through renders in that world is fantastic. And that's enabled a company like Arxon to sell dreams, right? And one of the biggest problems in the marine industry is that the cycle of product development is years. And so for the first 4 or 5 years of a business in the marine sector, all you're really selling is a dream that you might one day build this product. And to try and find customers to buy dreams when you haven't actually built one is very, very difficult. And so these 3D tools have really enabled us to communicate our message and our ethos and what we're trying to achieve in a very very special way. And then the last part that's been great is just customer journey and customer experience. So because the boats we build can be customized quite easily, people will ask, what if we did this, or could I change this? So we can obviously provide VR and 3D models that enable people to see that journey. But we can also take them through the whole product, from the propulsion systems and the engine rooms all the way through to the galley and what it's like to be on deck and things like that. So that's given us an entire sort of suite of tools and experiences that we can offer different parts of our organization. And it's brought us, it's brought the product to life in a way that's very rich and very dynamic, at a point when we're still well over a year away from the first vessel actually being in the water. Well, not quite a year away, but some time away from the first vessel being actually in the water. So I think it's a game changer for us, and I think across all industries, all manufacturing industries, it's a game changer.
Marco, so the fabricant is actually creating 100% digitally garment. That's itself is the sustainable initiative. So what else is there that you're using real-time 3D?
First, I love to connect with what Jasper said. Experience. We love to talk more and more about experience. We are not talking actually anymore about product. I think the idea of product is kind of dying in some way in this new digital world. And this one because what with experience, we rely on the fact that there are multiple people that I can enjoy experience. And multiple people for art means collaboration. So the creative process, and this is what the fabricant is doing, is creating a collaborative experience where multiple people can create together digital garments. And this one for us is basically the end goal. The end goal for us is reunite the world in a creative way. And people can really enjoy working together and playing together and creating together. And this one, it's super straightforward to go from that, this kind of assumption, to real time, because real time rendering and real time technologies in general are what is needed, is the technology achievement they allow us to do this, because otherwise it will be just gimmicky. And so this is a kind of a privilege, and I think we are kind of lucky to live in this moment where actually the technology can allow to do this, because people can definitely finally work together and play together in a way that is enjoyable. It's not too much. I mean, it's the case that I play games and I code games as well, and the softwares. And of course, always been like using your imagination to try to think about how things should be without using real-time technologies. But real-time, of course, is not just the graphics aspect, but it's also the performance, the latency aspect, also the fact that the data can be aligned at the same time using the kind of network capabilities. So all these aspects, they make possible a dream to have people collaborate together. We also love to talk about people as a community, not anymore as a customers. There are no customers. They are a community, and community means everyone in the community is part of the same goal, and we care about what they want, in the same way that we care internally about what we say. I think it's kind of another big shift that we see in this, let's say, metaverse and blockchain digital world technology. And we really love to see also technology kind of triggering and empowering people in this way.
So I'm listening both of you, and I realize you're both in two vastly different sectors. However, it sounds like your sustainability goals are very similar. How are you leading the charge on sustainability within your own sectors?
It's definitely leading the charge means for us, first of all, be responsible with our community. It means really give values, give a kind of understanding that we care about what people think. We care about the future in a kind of global way. It means also, and for me, more personally, as my role, I will say innovation is key. Innovation, it means bringing new technologies by using the right way, not just per profit, for example. I mean, of course, everyone is doing business at the end, but we really care about people in the sense that, and sustainability and all the kind of values that the fabricant has in their core, in their heart, because it really like, and for us, basically, leading the change and leading all this industry for us, rather than be kind of, okay, just innovative and ahead of time, this is actually what I always love to do, is actually for us, it's more important to be always from next to the people in some way. So it's more important to listen to the people and understand what they really want, rather than try to dictate the technology and I don't know, gadgets, all these kind of things that people, oh wow, we want we want to follow the FOMO moments at all costs. We don't want that. We are really care about what people want and what people care about.
And Jasper, how about the marine industry?
I think if you look at the opportunity to own something like an Arxen vessel, it's really a statement of intent. And our entire ethos is around trying to democratize ocean science. To try and enable scientists to get on the water to be able to do really important, valuable research that needs to be done. And we're trying to do that across our own fleet, but we've also got lots of other initiatives that try and expand that fleet. So we launched a program with a few other organizations called Yachts for Science, which tries to create a global fleet of vessels that marine researchers and scientists from all over the world can, it's a bit like Tinder for science, for marine science, if you like, so they can matchmake and things like that. We started 10% for the ocean. It's extraordinary to me that only or less than 1% of global philanthropic funding gets allocated to ocean research. It's extraordinary. I mean, how do we get to a point in life where our most vital ecosystem is the most underfunded by some way? And SDG 14, the least funded of all SDGs. So it's extraordinary. And you look at this in the context of, there's a report in The Guardian this week that said 4 out of 10 children are scared to have children, right? When they're older. So it's it's extraordinary. Well, 6 out of 10 children are fearful of the future. So if you're building a business today, you've got to build that business in a way that's cognizant of those fears and those worries. And I see it beholden on myself, and I think everybody in Arxon sees it beholden on themselves to build a business that puts the environment first, that puts science and knowledge first, and puts everything that we might associate with the yacht industry or the pleasure marine industry almost in a secondary position, and reverse the parameters, and so put the world first. The church bells are ringing on cue as well. But so I think as a business, it's really the combination of some of the things I've talked about, which is marine science fundamental to the survival of humanity over the long term. Building a business in a sustainable way that uses materials that don't significantly deplete the resources that we need tomorrow, and hopefully don't deplete them at all. And third, put in place programs that encourage harmony between the scientific community and the marine manufacturing industry. And if we can achieve those things, even on a small scale, we will, I think, have fundamentally changed an industry. And if we pull that off, I think we'll all be super proud.
Jasper and Marco, this has been an amazing conversation. I'm really inspired by what you're both doing in your sectors. You're truly showing that everyone has an opportunity to create change in their own industries and communities. I'm excited to see how other business leaders will integrate technology and innovation into their sustainability practices. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.